The conference room fell silent as Maya Chen pushed open the heavy glass door, her 3-month-old daughter strapped to her chest in a Navy carrier. 20 pairs of eyes turned toward her, and she felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment. This was the most important presentation of her career, and she was late, with a baby. "I'm so sorry," Maya's voice cracked slightly as she clutched her laptop bag tighter. "My sitter canceled at the last minute. I brought my baby. I can reschedule if—" "Ms. Chen." The deep voice came from the head of the table, where Alexander Frost, CEO of Frost Industries, sat with his arms crossed. His reputation preceded him, ruthless, demanding, impossible to please. At 38, he'd built a tech empire from nothing, and he expected nothing less than perfection from everyone around him. Maya had spent 3 months preparing for this pitch, hoping her innovative software solution would finally give her struggling startup the break it needed. Her heart sank as he stood up, his tall frame casting a shadow across the polished mahogany table. This was it. He was going to ask her to leave. She'd blown her only chance, and now she'd have to tell her small team of 5 employees that they might not make payroll next month. But Alexander Frost didn't ask her to leave. He walked around the table with measured steps, his expression unreadable. Maya instinctively placed a protective hand over Emma's back, feeling her daughter's tiny heartbeat against her chest. Emma stirred slightly, making a soft cooing sound that seemed impossibly loud in the tense silence. When Alexander reached them, he did something that shocked everyone in the room. He smiled, not the cold, professional smile they were used to, but something genuine that softened his entire face. Without a word, he gently reached out toward Emma, his hands hovering questioningly as he looked at Maya for permission. Maya's mind raced. What was happening? She nodded slowly, too surprised to speak. With surprising gentleness, Alexander carefully lifted Emma from the carrier, cradling her with the ease of someone who'd done this before. The baby blinked up at him with curious dark eyes, and his smile widened. "Hello, little one," he murmured, before looking back at Maya. "Please, have a seat, Ms. Chen. Take your time to set up. I've got her." The room remained frozen in disbelief. Alexander Frost, the man who once made a board member cry during a quarterly review, was cooing at a baby. Maya's hands trembled as she set up her presentation. She couldn't process what was happening, but she couldn't waste this opportunity either. As she connected her laptop to the projector, she kept glancing at Alexander, who had settled back into his chair with Emma nestled comfortably in one arm while he scrolled through his tablet with the other. The presentation began awkwardly. Maya's voice shook as she explained her company's cloud-based inventory management system, designed specifically for small businesses. But as she warmed to her topic, her passion broke through her nervousness. She'd built this software from the ground up, coding late into the night after Emma was born, fueled by desperation and determination. Halfway through her presentation, Emma began to fuss. Maya's stomach dropped, preparing to cut her pitch short, but Alexander simply stood and began a gentle bouncing motion, patting Emma's back with practiced rhythm. The baby quieted almost immediately, and he nodded at Maya to continue. By the end of her presentation, Maya felt she'd given it everything she had. The questions from Alexander's team were tough but fair, and she answered each one with growing confidence. When it was finally over, Alexander handed Emma back to her, the baby now peacefully asleep. "My office, Miss Chen." 15 minutes, he said quietly, before dismissing everyone else. Those 15 minutes felt like hours. Maya fed Emma in the building's nursing room, her mind spinning with possibilities. Had she impressed him? Was he going to invest? Or was he going to lecture her about professionalism? When she entered Alexander's office, she was struck by how different it looked from what she expected. Yes, there was the expected modern furniture and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, but there was also a framed child's drawing on his desk and a worn teddy bear tucked in a corner bookshelf. "Sit, please," Alexander gestured to a comfortable chair across from his desk. Emma had fallen back asleep in her carrier, her tiny fists curled under her chin. "Mr. Frost, I really am sorry about today." He held up a hand. "Stop apologizing. You're here, you prepared an excellent presentation, and you clearly haven't let new motherhood stop you from building something remarkable." Maya blinked back sudden tears. She'd been surviving on 4 hours of sleep a night, fielding judgmental comments from former colleagues who thought she was crazy for starting a business while pregnant and alone, and battling the constant fear that she was failing at everything. His words cracked something open inside her. "How old?" Alexander asked, his voice softer now. "She's 3 months. Emma." He nodded slowly, something painful flickering across his face. "I had a daughter. Lily. She would have been 5 this year." Maya's breath caught. "Would have been?" "Childhood leukemia. She died when she was 2. He said it matter-of-factly, but his fingers tightened around his pen. "My wife, ex-wife now, she couldn't stay in a world that reminded her of Lily. She left 6 months after the funeral. Said I was too focused on work, that I'd used it to avoid grieving. She wasn't entirely wrong." "I'm so sorry," Maya whispered, and she meant it with every fiber of her being. She looked down at Emma, trying to imagine such loss and finding it unbearable. "When you walked in today with Emma, do you know what I saw?" Alexander leaned forward. "I saw a fighter. Someone who refused to use her circumstances as an excuse. Someone who kept going even when it would have been easier to give up. That's the kind of person I want to invest in." Maya's heart pounded. "You want to invest?" "I want to do more than invest. I want to offer you a partnership. Frost Industries will provide capital, resources, and mentorship to scale your company. In return, we take a 30% stake. You maintain creative control and decision-making power." He slid a folder across the desk. "These are preliminary terms. Look them over, have a lawyer review them." "But Maya, may I call you Maya?" She nodded, still processing. "You've built something special, but you're trying to do it alone. You don't have to." His eyes moved to Emma. "Trust me, I know how it feels to carry everything by yourself. It nearly destroyed me. Don't make the same mistake." Over the following weeks, Maya discovered that Alexander Frost was far more than his reputation suggested. Yes, he was demanding and had high standards, but he was also unexpectedly supportive. He connected her with the best business development managers in his company, arranged for discounted childcare through a partner organization, and even occasionally stopped by her new office to check on her progress, and to sneak in a few minutes holding Emma. The first time Maya's team met him, her CTO, David, pulled her aside afterward. "I thought he was supposed to be terrifying. He just spent 20 minutes giving me advice on debugging code while making faces at your baby." Maya smiled. Turns out people are more complicated than their reputations. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. 3 months into their partnership, Maya faced her biggest crisis yet. A competitor launched a similar product with aggressive pricing, threatening to undercut her entire market position. She worked frantically on a solution, barely sleeping, pushing herself to the edge of exhaustion. One evening, Alexander found her in her office at 9 p.m., Emma asleep in a portable crib in the corner, while Maya stared bleary-eyed at her computer screen. "Go home, Maya. I can't. I need to figure out how to differentiate our product, enhance the features, maybe add AI integration." "Maya." His voice was firm but gentle. He closed her laptop. "Look at me." She did, and she was startled to see concern in his eyes. "After Lily died, I threw myself into work. 18-hour days, sleeping at the office, missing everything else that mattered. I told myself I was being dedicated, but I was really just running away from pain. When Rachel left, I finally had to face the fact that I'd sacrificed everything real on the altar of success." He glanced at Emma. "Don't do that to her. Don't do it to